Yes, you're live.
Hare Krishna, good evening. But can you see the slide?
No, you have to share.
Now, yeah, once you become the host, you'll have to again allow me to do that.
Yeah, I've done. Can start, bro.
Okay. Can you see the slide?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see.
Speaker notes?
No.
Perfect. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
good evening. We have had a very challenging technology start to the session. But thank you all and warm welcome to the session, Systematic Study of Gita, Gitamrutam Rasmalayam. We are on 7th chapter and we will be closing this chapter today. Let me start by offering obeisances to my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. I seek his blessings and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Gaur Vilas Prabhuji. I am deeply grateful for their blessings and we start with Sri Guru Pranam Mantra. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We all love Goloka, and that's the reason why we have boarded Goloka Express. What are we going to study today? We're going to study 7th chapter. We are going to study how Maya hides Krishna and Bhakti reveals him. This is a systematic study of Gita. We awaken your curiosity through quizzes. We touch your heart through blogs. And we deepen your understanding through the session of explaining the verses. What is chapter 7? As we have seen already, the acronym of this chapter is HEAD. H is hearing, E is everywhere, A is accept or reject, surrendering to Krishna. And today we are going to start demigods and the Supreme Lord. We have all uh, gone through this blog, which is titled From Protection to Perfection. I hope most of you have gone through this blog. There is a deep purpose behind sharing this. What are the key takeaways from this blog? Was it your time worth investing on reading this blog? What does the blog share? It shares that changing the Vaishnodevi visit plan in 1984, we thought as humans, we are egoistic. I am deciding. I want to change the priority of visits. I'll first go to Srinagar and then come to Vaishno Mata. But what happened? The vehicle broke down. And what does it show? I'm not going into the details. I'm only going to give you the principle. There is a divine interruption and grace to which we have to bow down. Surrender is the key step for having faith. You get the realization after years, and your ignorance is gradually removed. Faith becomes deeper when the twins had a difficult pregnancy and Mata intervened. The bhakti transforms your perception. And then surrender becomes a habit and not one off. This is a journey from protection to perfection. We sought protection of Vaishnomata, and she, being the sister of Krishna, led us to the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the story of devotion for you. What does this teach us? It shows us Krishna is greater than our fear. We feared for what would happen to twins' life. Medical advice is against us. But Krishna said, when you surrender, I am here. He also says, I am greater than your fate. The medical science predicted that it could be a difficult pregnancy. They said, no, don't go ahead with it. Against all sane medical advice, we stuck to faith. That reveals this fact of Krishna. I am greater than your fate. I can change your fate. That's what happens when you surrender to Krishna with love. Then the second part of the session is the quiz. What does this quiz try to highlight? I'll share. Most of you answered. Some of you got the correct questions right. I'm not going to go through the questions. I'm just going to highlight one question which we had asked. And most of you have answered confidently, mark by words, but which is wonderful. But most of you got it wrong. And the question was, why do intelligent people sometimes misunderstand the true nature of the divine? Most, I would say 50% of the class got this wrong. And this is the door opener to our session today. Because the first verse of today, Krishna says, Avyaktam Vyaktim Apannam Manyate Mam Abuddhayaha. The moment you think Krishna is imperson, then you have lost it. The correct answer to this question was because he appears in an ordinary human like form. Most of you felt, oh, how can Krishna come as a human form, as an ordinary human? But that's the right answer. So don't feel, no, well, we didn't know this answer. That the purpose of the quiz is to highlight what's our understanding, what are the gaps, and the explanation today will clarify the doubts. That's the purpose of this discussion. So Krishna today explains to us in these 7 verses why people misunderstand him. Like all of you misunderstood him in the quiz. And then he also gives us understanding, inputs, insights, which will remove that misunderstanding. So with this, we move on. Okay, yeah. Now, both the quiz and the blog teaches us something. Before we dive into the verses, I must start with a confession because there is a lesson in this. And we must not lose sight of this. We must register this permanently in our minds. In 1984, when we tried to use Mata Vaishnodevi's visit as a tourist pit stop, what happened? We wanted to shift the priorities from visiting Vaishno Mata to Srinagar. What happened? Krishna doesn't send you a WhatsApp message. Krishna intervenes in a way that you will remember throughout your life. It is not like GPS, which says you are no longer, it's rerouting. I'm trying to take you to the correct spot and it hangs. No, Krishna's message is not a GPS. It gives you the message hard headed, which you will remember. What did he do? He broke the car down. He had the driver's health upset and forget about Srinagar. We couldn't do any visits. We had to go home. And we've all felt lousy. This is what happens when we try to treat spirituality, pilgrimage trips as a picnic. Business with pleasure doesn't work in devotion. That's the lesson that we learned, and it has stood through us throughout our lives. So he is not a pit stop, he is this entire universe. And if you remember this, then we will never make this mistake of trying to reschedule the visit. Another learning is like our GPS. It never says I made a mistake. It will go on showing you rerouting. It will never say I have made a mistake. Give me some time. I'm recalculating. The learning is in our life too, the messages from the Lord doesn't come written clearly. This is what happened. This is the mistake. And now I'm correcting it for you. So this is how we should understand that all the circumstances, all the setbacks that you receive have a purpose behind. Only if you are open-minded and say that, Krishna, I bow down to you. Surrender is the most important word in devotion. And we surrendered, and you see where we are today. Against all medical advice, all the doctors are here today, and my twins are walking and they are doing very well in life. That is, Krishna is greater than fate. Example. And this is being shared with all of you, not because it is something unique to us. All of us have different problems of different kinds in our lives. What is the single most important message and learning that all of you can take home is don't stop saying your prayers. When Ramesh called up and said, I want help, you should pray for your friends because the Lord loves when you pray for your friend more than when you pray for yourself. Selflessness is what Krishna loves. And we did it innocently, and he rewarded us. So, this is the learning which is most fundamental for us to go through these verses one by one. The verses 7.24 to 7.30, from Maya to perfection in devotion. That is the journey we are going to make. Now, you may be wondering, what is this Maya? Where is this delusion? I am very clear in my mind. I know Krishna. I have surrendered to him. This is what we all start with. I'll give you a small example before we start the class. There's a company which appointed a new CEO, and the CEO was being welcomed in the office, and all the staff were eagerly waiting to welcome the new CEO. The CEO was a very smart person. He decided, I'm going to go to the office as a common man. I'm not going to show any of my power, any of my prestige symbols like a luxury car, two people running behind me to help me with my briefcase, suitcase, and whatnot. So he dressed himself in as a normal person, no accompaniment of power, and he reached the office. And the receptionist asked, whom are you here to meet? He said, I'm here to meet the CEO. She said, sir, our CEO is new. He has just been appointed. So please wait. We are also awaiting to welcome him. Other managers passed by. Nobody had seen him except the board which has appointed the CEO. And then in the next 10 minutes, there was an announcement saying that all the employees are requested to assemble in the assembly hall. We are going to introduce the new CEO to you. All the employees assembled in the assembly hall. And the new CEO asked the receptionist, can you please guide me? Where is this assembly hall? Because he's new to the company. The receptionist still did not understand. She said, sir, here is this assembly. Please come with me. And he was sitting in the audience waiting for the announcement. And the board was anxious to see where is the CEO because his car is not reported. Where is he? And then one person cited him, sitting in the crowd. He said, oh, CEO is sitting here. Let us welcome him to come on the dais. I don't want to continue with the story. The moral of the story is, if the CEO could not be recognized because he did not have the symbols of power attached to him, and he was mistaken to be a normal person, this is what Krishna says. This is delusion by Maya. This is what Maya does to us. When Krishna is amidst us, he's sitting with us, we say that, oh, well, this man is an ordinary person. How can he be Krishna? That is the delusion we have to take away. That is the misnomer that we have in our minds. He is impersonal. He is Brahmajyoti. He says, no, I am a person like you. But the only difference between you and me is I am transcendental. I am above time. We will see the verses going forward today. With this, what is the session? We are on the lesson 4, where we talk about demigod worship and supreme Lord worship. All of us come from a culture of demigod worship. So this is going to be, you have to take this with a lot of calm, listen to it carefully, allow it to sing. What is Krishna's message? He calls people who visit demigods as Alpamedasa. We will see that as we go along. So the journey is in the verses 26 to 30, from delusion by Maya to devotion to Krishna. We quickly revise what Prabhuji took in the last class, which said, Antavattu phalam tesam tad bhavati alpamedasam. He's calling us alpamedasam. Devan deva yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. If you worship the demigods, it could be Brahma, Shiva, Ganesha, whoever it is, he says you are tad bhavati alpamedasam. This was the message of Gita. less intelligent aspire for temporary results. The translation: men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. Devan Deva Yajoyanti. But my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Mad Bhakta Yanti Mam Api. If you want to go to Goloka, you have to surrender to Krishna. That is, and as devotees who are reading Gita, listening to Gita, understanding Gita, we must try to underline this point. Antavat means having an end. Any benediction that comes from Devatas, Devis have a temporary nature written in them, embedded in them. Tu phalam tesam. Any benediction that you get from the worship of Devatas are temporary. Then he says, Tad bhavati alpamedasam. If you continue to worship demigods after listening to Gita, I'm giving you this message, then you are of inadequate intelligence. Are you going to be suffering by continuing the worship of demigods? No, Krishna doesn't say anywhere anything. He just says you are less intelligent. Mark the words carefully. He is not being critical. He is not saying that, no, stop the demigod worship from tomorrow. And if you don't worship me, I will ensure that you will remember this throughout your life. No. Krishna always gives it to our free will. He says, please understand, if you continue the path, then what happens is, Devan Deva Yajoyanti. If you worship Brahma, you will go to Brahma Loka. If you worship Shiva, you will go to Shiva Loka, Kailasa. What happens if you go to Brahmaloka? You will enjoy a great life, but you will never put an end to the repeated cycle of birth and death. The difference between any loka and goloka is we will put ourselves away from the cycle of birth and death. Mad bhakta yanti mam. Those who worship me attain me alone. This are the four words we must underline as devotees of Krishna. Mad bhakta yanti mam. Why do we indulge in demigod worship? Just to highlight, lots of desires. We want the Lord to bless us with car, house, savings, stock market profits, and what have you. We have such an endless list of material things, and we feel, oh, well, I'll offer my pujas to this particular Lord. He will bless me with this. So what we are? Alpamedasa. What is the result? Your results are temporary, and you will go to the planets of the demigods, of the devatas, from where you will have to again come back into the cycle of birth and death. That's the reason why Krishna says, don't worship demigods. Or if you want to continue to worship demigods, please understand what are the benefits you will get. Any benediction is only temporary because it's applicable to your material life. It will not give you spiritual freedom. With this context, refresh, we come to the first verse of the day. The essence of this verse is, I have said in the first two slides, if you don't recognize Krishna, if you don't recognize the CEO, that is Maya. And Krishna is saying this specifically here. He says, Avyaktam Vyaktim Apanam Manyate Mam Abuddhayaha. From Alpa Medasa, now he is saying Abuddhayaha. Param Bhavam Ajananto Mam Avyayam Anuttamam. What is the meaning of this? He says, unintelligent men, Abuddhayaha, who do not know me perfectly. They mistake me to be an impersonal Brahmajyoti when I am a person like you. Think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he's saying Mam. So there is, who is Mam? Mam is Krishna, because Krishna is speaking the Gita, was impersonal before. Avyaktam Vyaktim Apannam, and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. He is giving us two qualities here. He says, Avyayam Anuttamam. Let's go through the verse. So the first message is we are unintelligent. If you believe Krishna is formless, avyaktam vyaktim apannam. So there is now I want to share a personal example. We know a very senior, I would call him a devotee, but he is very honest, very pious, very clean person. But his belief is in, I believe the Lord is impersonal. So there's no point in trying to change their understanding and belief. But as a person, he is a role model for any of us in this world. That's the reason why when we cultivate our beliefs, we have to take shelter of parampara. We should take shelter of the right scriptures, which will can give us the right understanding. Manyate mam abuddhayaha. Those who think like this are unintelligent. Alpamedasa abuddhayaha. These are the two titles that Krishna is giving to anyone who worships the demigods. And if I were to highlight here, Yamunacharya is a great devotee of Ramanujacharya. He says, my dear Lord, all sincere devotees, great devotees like Vasudeva, Narad Muni, all of you know you to be the personality of Godhead. You have a personal form. But what I realize is those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance are having this problem of unable to be identified who is Krishna. That is the issue. That is Maya. In 9.11, Krishna says, Avajananti Mamuda Manushim Tanum Ashritam. Only fools regard me as an ordinary person. So, in spite of this strong message, we have millions of people who have a strong belief that Krishna is impersonal. We, as serious students of Gita, must correct this gap in understanding. We should understand what Krishna is trying to tell us, what Krishna is trying to guide us through Arjuna. He is very clearly saying, oh dear Arjuna, oh dear devotees, Devan Devo Yajoyanti Mad Bhakta Yanti Mamapi. If you worship the demigods, you will go to their loka. If you worship me, you will come to me. And we should, as planned, go back to Goloka and not to any demigod loka. Taram bhavam ajananto. They do not know my supreme nature. Mam avyayam anuttamam. So he's saying, I am born in the personal form. I am a coward boy. I will be giving you an example later on in these verses. But remember, just because he is looking like you and me, he is not you and me. He is avyayam and anuttamam. And a serious devotee will always have this understanding. A non-devotee will be covered by some moha. We will see this in the next verses coming. In 9.13 also, Krishna says, Natva bhutadim avyayam. He says, please understand, I am the beginning of all existence and I am imperishable. I am Kala. So this is the understanding that we must have. It should not be superficial. It should be deep rooted. The devotion grows from perfect understanding of who Krishna is. Two words of highlighting. Avyayam, imperishable. Anuttamam, the finest. There is nobody who is better than him. That is the bottom line. Now, what is the takeaway for us? Daily learnings for our lives. There are two visions of the absolute. We should follow the right one. So if you are in the impersonalist camp, you will continue to believe that Krishna is impersonal and he takes a material body whenever he has an avatar. As a pure devotee, we know that Krishna is transcendental forever. He may come in any form, but he is transcendental. He is unaffected by time. The barrier to an impersonalist is he thinks that I have a veil of Yogamaya. Krishna keeps you away from him by his Yogamaya if you are not surrendered unto him. For us, we have understood his form, his name, his leelas because of the grace of the Lord. So a devotee and an impersonalist do not have the same understanding, and a devotee has the grace of the God, grace of the Lord, that he understands Krishna is transcendental. What is the ultimate goal of an impersonalist is to merge into the effulgence of Brahma Jyoti. Whereas for a devotee like us, eternal, loving, devotional service is what we all aspire for. We don't want mukti, we don't want moksha, we just want to continue having eternal devotional service to the Lord. What is the status at the death? This is a very powerful information insight that Krishna reveals in this section today. What is the status at death? Prayana kali api. The impersonalist is bewildered by incomplete knowledge, whereas a devotee has full consciousness of the Lord. Death is transition from this body to another body. That is the knowledge that a devotee has. Death is not the end, death is the beginning. We all, as devotees, aspire to be at the lotus feet of the Lord. If we are not able to get Goloka, we should get another body where we will always serve the Lord. Irrespective of any number of janmas we get, we only need one thing which is constant, and that is service to the Lord. That is how a devotee aspires at the time of death. We go to the next verse of the day. And now Krishna is revealing what he wants us to understand. He says, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. I am not revealed, manifested to all. Yogamaya Samavrita. I am covered by my Yogamaya. Mudo I am Nabhijanati. The one who is a Muda. No criticism. If you are unintelligent, if you are Alpamedasa, if you are a Muda, you will not believe because of my Yogamaya. Loko mam ajam avyayam. They are not able to recognize that I am unborn, I am imperishable, I am eternal. The translation. So Krishna says, I am not like the sun god that I am visible to all. Either you are a sinner or a saint, the sun is visible. But Krishna says, I am not manifest to everyone. Always like the sun, no way. I am covered by my internal potency like the cloud. Therefore, foolish people do not know that I am unborn and infallible. How do we correct this foolishness? By reading the right scriptures, not getting into an argument, not getting into a debate. You can debate till the cows come home, but you will not be able to convince an impersonalist he's a personalist because he doesn't want to give up. He doesn't want to open himself to understand the basic principle. How can life come out of a Brahmajyoti? It's impossible, but then their limitation is, their understanding is limited. Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. How do we understand this verse? We should understand this verse as Aham Sarvasya Naham Prakashaha. I am not manifest to everyone. Please understand this. To be a devotee of Krishna is possible only by the mercy of Krishna. It is not open for all of us. We have more than 100 people belonging to the group of Gita Amrutam Rasmalayam, but how many of us take the time to join the class every week? Is there anything which is different for you and the others? The same time of 1 hour, the same day, everything is prefixed, everything is in order, there is no surprise, but even then you find only few people joining this. Why? Because of our own wrong prioritization of things in life. If we are unable to deliver one hour to understand about Krishna, who is very clearly telling us, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, I am not so easy to understand. I am not like the sun god. Every day in the morning you get up and you can see the sun. No. I will reveal myself only to those who have my blessings, who have surrendered to me. Now, let us look at this lovely story from Mahabharata, where Krishna has been declared to be the Supreme Lord even before the war started by none other than Bhishma. In front of everyone, he says, if there is one person who has to get the arghya of the Rajasuya Yajna, it is Krishna and Krishna alone, because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Dharmaraya approached Bhishma saying that, "Oh, Bhishmacharya, please help me. How do I identify who is the person who is going to accept the Argya, the first amongst the, no, I would say, a sea of decorated people, warriors, kings, princes, and whatnot." Bhishma stands up and says, "Arjuna, as Dharmaraya, there's only one person who is qualified enough to be accepting the Rajasuya Yargya, and that is Mr. Krishna." Even after hearing this, Kurukshetra battle happened. Now you understand how strong the Maya is and why Krishna is saying, "I am covered by my Yoga Maya." Person like Shishupala stands up and says, "Oh dear Bhishma, what is the qualification of Krishna? He is not a king, he is not a warrior, he is not a priest. What makes you choose him as the chief to accept this Argya? He is not qualified." And now you may be wondering, who is Shishupala? Shishupala is not a normal person. He is a qualified warrior. He is related to Krishna. Imagine, Shutusravas is sister of Vasudeva, father of Krishna, and Shishupala is the son. And Shishupala had a born defect. He had 3 eyes and 4 arms. And when his mother approached Krishna, see, he said, "Mother, the person whose lap you put him, and if that person is going to kill Shishupala, his 3 eyes and 4 arms will disappear." The moment he said that, the mother places him on his lap to test. And what happens? Shishupala, all the deformities disappear. So it was clear to his mother that from day one, Krishna is going to execute my son. And she said, "Oh, Krishna, be compassionate. How can you take away my son? Please give me a solution." Then Krishna promises her, "I will not kill your son. I will not enforce destiny till he commits 100 faults. The day he completes the 100 fault, I will execute him." And that 100 fault happened during this Rajasuya Yajna, and Krishna kills him by leaving his Sudarshan Chakra. This is the story. What is the essence? The essence is Bhishma declares to the world that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Declaration coming from a mouth of Bhishma was not enough to convince people to remove their Maya. Just imagine us, how many of us can read Gita, understand Gita, and start believing, "Oh, well, my Maya has disappeared." It's not so easy. It takes effort, endeavor, surrender. He says, "Yoga Maya Samavritaha." Why are we facing this challenge? Because Krishna has this energy of his, which is Yoga Maya. That is an illusion which increases devotion to devotees and takes away devotion from non devotees. As you can see in this, if you are an unqualified observer, you will only see Brahmajyoti and you will not see Krishna. But if you are a pure devotee, given the same circumstance, you will recognize Krishna anywhere, anytime, any place. That's the difference between a devotee and a non devotee. It's like the sun and the cloud. Acharyas give this example. They say that Mudo yam nabi janati. These foolish people do not recognize me. Why? Now people may say, why is Krishna being so harsh? Why is he calling Mudha? Krishna is not being critical. Krishna is not saying that I am not trying to demean you by saying Muda. Your tendency not to recognize me is revealing your unintelligence. That is why you qualify to become a Muda. It is not a condemnation, but just highlighting the fault in understanding. The cloud is real, the sun is real. The reality for a non devotee is if you're standing here and you want to see the sun and the cloud comes in the way, you can't blame the cloud saying that it covers the sun. It's your limited vision, limited understanding. The cloud does its job. Remember, sun is above the cloud. This cloud acts as the Yogamaya for most of us. Remember the CEO example. The whole company was not able to identify him just because he did not use the power symbols associated with that position. So all of us have this image that Krishna, if he comes, he will have four hands, he will have Gada, Shankha, Chakra, Padma, whatever, and he will be effulgent, and we will recognize him. No, Krishna will come in the form of his choice. And then, unless and until he gives us the blessings of his mercy, we will not be able to recognize Krishna because of Yogamaya. Lokomam ajam avyayam. They don't understand that I am eternal, I am transcendental, I am imperishable. This is the limitation, and that is being caused by the Yogamaya. That is the energy of Krishna. Now we move to the famous section, Delusion by Maya to Devotion to Krishna. What is the message? Now understand, he has already told us he is avyayam, imperishable, anuttamam. He is the finest. There's nothing beyond him. Now he is adding more description to him to help us identify what differentiates Krishna, even though he looks like you and me, as a cowherd boy. Shishupala very clearly said, shouted in the assembly, I don't find Krishna. He is not the king. He is not the prince. He is not the warrior like Bhishma or Drona. He is a coward boy. But why do you appoint him, anoint him as the chief for receiving the Rajsuya Yajna Argya? Because we have Bhishma and the devotees had understood what Krishna is. Krishna tells Arjuna, Vedaham samatitani vartmanani charjuna. Bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kasyanaha. Krishna knows the past, present, and future. O Arjuna, translation, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past. He has said this earlier too. All that is happening in the present and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. Quite an easy verse to understand because as a devotee, we know the Lord is all powerful. He says, I am Kala. And he says, I know the past, I know the present, I know the future. Vedaham samatitani. I fully know all that has happened in the past. Vartamanani cha Arjuna. I know the present as well, O Arjuna. What is samatit? Samatit means complete. Atitani means the past. So Vedaham samatitani means I know fully the past. I know the present. Then he says, Bhavishyani cha bhutani, and I know the future of all living beings too. Mam tu Vedana Kashana, but no one knows. This is what happens. When I asked you the quiz question, most of you got it wrong, 50% of the class, because we still have that mistaken understanding of who Krishna is. We always feel that being the Supreme Lord, he has something which is very, very different from any of us. But Krishna says, no, when I'm here as Krishna, I'm like one of you. It is for you to understand and recognize I am the Supreme Lord, but in an ordinary form like you and me. If you are not veiled by Yogamaya, you will recognize Krishna. Like Bhishma recognized, and the whole crowd was not able to recognize. Even after announcing, they were not able to remember, they were not able to digest it. They did not allow it to register. It was a point of argument. He has said in 4.5, Bahuni me veditani janmani tavacha Arjuna tani aham veda sarvani natvam veda parantava. Tani aham veda sarvani. Bahuni me vyatitani. Both of us are born many, many times, but I can remember all my past births. You cannot. O subduer of enemy, Arjuna. Going forward, we will see why Krishna is saying this, that he remembers the past and we cannot remember. Next verse. What causes this illusion? Why are we not able to recognize? What are the challenges we face? Krishna says it is nothing external, it is all internal within us. Ichha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. And imagine he is giving so much of respect to Arjuna. Every time he is calling him Parantapa. He is the killer of enemies. And he says, desire and hatred are causing the delusion. What is this Maya? If you have to understand by words, he says it is Ichha and Dvesha. He says, oh son of Bharata, he is calling him Bharata in the second line, and then he's saying Parantapa in the fourth line. Conqueror of the foe, he is all powerful. All living entities are born into delusion. There is no difference. Sarvabhutani, everyone is covered by this delusion. Bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. Let us understand from where this duality is coming. Why is one covered by illusion? Because of our own desires and aversion. I will ask you an honest question. Don't you have any desire today? The first desire is the class should finish on time. I should be able to join Arjun Saka's class. Yes or no? Now that is the desire that may affect your concentration of what is being spoken now. Krishna says, be away from it. Try to be away from it. Ichha dvesha samutena, arising from desire and aversion. Now you may be wondering, what is this desire? What is this aversion? I'll give you a small example. You have a beautiful spread for your lunch and you are looking for some brilliant rasgullas like Saptadeep, who is a Bengali. He would love to have a rasgulla and he searches desperately around. You have rasmalai, you have gulab jamun, but you don't have rasgulla. What happens? His desire is not satisfied. And he has that tinge of regret that, oh, well, lovely spread, but I don't have the sweet that I want. Now, let's look at the other case. You have a beautiful spread awaiting in front of you. You don't like Karela sabji because it is bitter, and you find Karela sabji prominently displayed. Then again, you have aversion. You love the spread, but you don't like that item. So this is how Ichha and Dvesha are ingrained us. Every moment we have something which we like, we have something which we don't like. And this is the engine of delusion. Desire, you want to be the Lord, you want everything of your choice available all the time in front of you, which is not practical. And then if you don't get what you want, you have that immediate aversion saying that, oh, well, I don't get what we want. And in between, you have this Dvandva Mohena. You have these dualities. You are pulled apart by the two opposites. What to do? Desire and aversion. Should I follow this? Should I follow that? Ichha dvesha samutena, arising from desire and aversion. Dvandva Mohena Bharata, the delusion. Samyak Rupena Moha is Sammoha. That is what Krishna is saying. Sarva Bhutani Sammoham. And he is not saying Manishya Bhutani Sammoham, only the human beings. He says Sarva Bhutani, any living being has this desire and aversion. And that is what creates the trap for you. And you will be always struggling to understand, who am I? Who is, even if Krishna comes in front of us, there could be a struggle and a challenge to recognize him because of our own internal conditioning. Sargeyanti Parantapa. Now you may be wondering, what is this Sammoha? Why is Krishna highlighting this so much? Sammoha means it is delusion. And how this delusion acts and how strong it is like we decide to go to a movie. So the first step of Sammoha is you're going into the movie hall because you want to be in illusion for 2 hours. Then you sit inside the movie, start getting used to the dim lights, no lights. and the movie starts. The hero and the villain. The moment you see them on the screen, you also start identifying with the hero. Now that is Dvandva Mohena Bharata. You are already in illusion. You are looking at a movie which is not real. And the next step is you are also now starting participation in the movie. If the hero beats the villain, you are happy, and if the vice versa happens, you are not happy. So what happens? This is Samoha. You start from illusion and then get into Dvandva Mohena. That is what prevents us from following the path of devotional service. Sargayanti Parantapa. What is Sargayanti? Sargayanti is at the time of birth, our Svabhava is inbuilt, ingrained, it runs in our DNA. You may be wondering, how is it possible? Acharyas give a brilliant example. They say a hog likes stool from day one of its birth. You don't have to teach a baby hog what is your food. It looks at stool, it likes it, it loves it. A human being is taught not to like stool from day one. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, please understand that this runs deep. So it is not enough for you to conquer your external enemies. You must make all efforts to conquer your internal enemies. And that is the reason why he's again and again emphasizing, oh Parantapa, you are the no killer of enemies. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not so sure, after looking at you, have you been able to conquer Icha and Dvesha? Now, we will, yeah, I will summarize this slide and I will stop the class because it is 6:39. So we will have 3 verses plus quiz to continue in the next class. I don't want to come in the way of no allowing anyone to go into the next class. And even Prabhuji wanted to get relieved fast. So a quick summary. What did we study in 7.24? Lord is not impersonal. If you have this misunderstanding, it is for you to work on your misunderstanding and come out of it. Recognize Krishna for who he is. Reading Gita n number of times is not sufficient if you are not able to answer this question, who is Krishna? Most of the times people will say he was born to Devaki, he was in Vrindavana, he was a cowherd boy, he played flute beautifully, etc., etc. He was a king, he ruled in Dwarka. All that is fine, that are details. What is most important is who is Krishna. He is the transcendental supreme Lord. Until and unless you come out with this answer, even if I ask you at the middle of the night, you have not understood Gita. There is only one Krishna and he is the supreme. And you should not have a doubt at any point of the day and night. That is being aligned with Krishna. Yogamaya shields the Lord from unqualified. Remember the sun and the cloud example. The cloud does its job, the sun does its job. You must always understand and try to figure out the sun is above the cloud. How can the cloud cover the sun? It is the way I am seeing, and that's the problem with me. I have to correct myself. It is physics. You can't change the cloud, you can't change the sun. By duality. Remember the example of movie hall. You go to the movie to be in illusion, and then in the movie hall, you start enjoying what happens to the hero and getting upset if the villain beats the hero. So we must avoid falling into the trap of Dvandva Mohena, dualities. Rich, poor, small, big, happy, unhappy. Every living breath of us is guided by this duality. So we must try to, only if you are able to rise above duality, can you look at the absolute truth of Krishna. If Krishna says, I am above fear, I am above fate, you cannot say, is it true in all circumstances? Is it true when the twins' life is at risk? Is it true when the doctors are saying, don't go ahead with this? The moment you ask these questions, you have not understood Krishna. Either you believe him fully or you don't believe him at all, because half his belief is not going to take you here or there. So with that, I end the class. Prabhuji, are you there or you have
No, I'm
left?
there.
Right.
Just a second. I'll just stop the record button. Second.